Testing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dairy Show. Today's judge will be Joel Smith from Hillsborough, and he has been raising dairy goats since he was a young boy. Can we please welcome Joel? Can the three senior showmen please come to the ring?
Thank you very much for having me to the Fairfield County Fair this year. And I know it hasn't turned out the way everybody is really kind of hoping, but I'd like to give a special thanks to all the adults, parents, mentors, what have you, that got the kids to this point. I'm sure it was one of those years where a lot of people did a lot of questioning on what they wanted to do and how far they were willing to go in the conditions we had this year. So thank you very much for the youth that got out here into the ring, brought your animals this far. Thank you very much for those that helped them get this far. I'd really like for you to give these guys a round of applause for the senior class of showmanship, please. Starting the class with a young lady here at the front that just really does a really nice job of handling this animal and keeping it set up. I really like the speed and the precision in which she set this doe up, the priority in which she sets those feet, choosing those feet that are closer to the judge at the time, and moving those feet first and getting that animal set up a little bit faster than the two showmen stand behind her. Also in kind of our side-by-side line, she moved about that in the more correct manner that I'd like to see, and just did a very nice job with parts of the animal when I give her a chance to express those to me, and has done a very nice job here in exhibiting this animal. She'll take the class today, so congratulations. My second place showman does a very nice job, just not quite as fast, not quite as accurate with placing those feet, but does an excellent job of exhibiting this animal, makes her look very nice while she's got her here in the ring. Just like to see her pick up a little bit more speed with that to compare with our first place showman. And then our third place showman has an animal here that's just really not very cooperative with her today. I really appreciate the fact that she's kind of taken that in stride, be patient with the animal, and just moving on with it. And for a day like today where you've waited quite a while to get in here, I know it's frustrating, and I really appreciate it when showmen don't take it out on the goat, and you've done a very nice job with that. Just practice with her more, and she'll get there eventually. But thank you very much for coming out. You guys did a very good job.
In third place, we have Elizabeth Swinehart from Pygmies Plus. In second place, we have Ellie Wollock from For Creation 4-Hers. And in first place, we have Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman.
once you reach over and back under, it's a little bit awkward. You just back up a little bit and reach down. You grab that foot. And there you go. You got it. You got it. Okay. Yeah. Kids are hard, okay? Especially for a showmanship class, unless you spoil them and work with them every day, kids are kind of hard. Um, so yeah, blah 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 blah, and I'm Chad, and I'm Andrew. Good job. Good catch. All right. Now we do a couple different movements as far as like a line. Okay. This is what we call head to tail. Okay. When you move out of this line, always go out this side. If I'm standing on this side, and I squeeze good, very good in the line, you're going to turn which way? That way. So just turn the way right there, the rest of the side. There you go. Head on down, and into the place where I asked you. When you make that turn right there, you're going to switch again. Excellent. Right in your spot, okay? Will you please bring yours down here? And I'm going to do me and put it right in the middle, right here. You got a little carried away with this through the backside of the back to make it simple. And I asked to get to the back of which way are you going to go? That way? Excellent, yes. That's right. Okay, now everybody face this way. Face the desk. Okay, stop right there. That's good. That's fine. Yes. So because I'm in the front, start with your front feet, set them up. If I had ended up back here when I actually make that turn, you would have started with the rear feet. So this is what I'm looking at. Okay. Very good. Can I borrow your boot for a minute? Okay. Especially for a little bit smaller showman, a little bit bigger goat. Okay. If you ever end up in that situation where they won't let you grab feet or you can't reach them, okay, you can always set your hand lock from the front end. Okay. If you push, keep your head up and pushing on the shoulder, you can move. Okay. So especially if you're with her, if she gets to fidgeting too much with that rear leg and you can't get it, practice. You can't just right here, right now, but practice it. You can move all 4 feet from the front. Okay. All right, this line. If I ask you to move, there's only one right way to do it. Okay? Because goats don't really have a very good reverse, if I ask you to move to a certain spot, always go forward first. Okay? In fact, scoot down here a little bit closer, like I want you to get in close to this one. You can scoot over a little bit more. Okay? Now, if I ask you to move to a certain spot, could you really turn around right there and turn this way? It'd take you an hour to get it back up this far to go. Okay? So in the side-by-side line, always go forward first. Okay? So move yours just over on the other side first. Now, forward first, just go down. Actually, hold on. Just stop there. Come down in front of the line first. And then go through the spot where you actually go. We don't have a whole lot of people here, so it's not going to be that hard, right? But imagine there are 10 of you. I said, hey, down here, second from the end. You'd walk down, go through that spot, then make your circle. Okay? Now, does it change anything if I'm up here in the front? No, because you're still going to come forward. Does this line, doesn't matter where I'm at, always go forward first, okay? The head and tail line, always go out to the side of the tail, okay? All three of you are doing an excellent job keeping the collars up. These guys have a really short attention span, okay? As soon as you get a go with your head and drop that collar, the line starts to wander, and the body will soon go out, okay? Keeping the collars up really makes it easier for you. Any questions? Okay, let's turn facing that way one more time. And the head to tail. Yes, good. Right. Very good. You got it. Just leave them there. Just try to set them. You're fine. Good job. Let's go. Good job. The reason we don't The reason we like to keep those feet square down underneath, okay, is because it keeps your top line a little bit stronger, a little bit straighter. Okay, this is one of the things we want. You take those front feet too far, and this rear leg back too far, then you kind of compromise the top line. You usually get a good shot. All three of these are really strong and top line, so you probably wouldn't do it for me to demonstrate to you. But especially if you do it on the long go, you make them look worse than making them look right. Okay? All three of you did a really nice job with your feet placement there. No questions? What I did with the other line was asking them parts of the goat. Eventually, there's a chart with a lot of the parts on it. Okay? Try to get to know those. I ask a lot of questions as far as parts of the goat because I want to see your knowledge, right? But it also helps when you've got kids at home and you're saying, which one's better than the other? You say, I don't know what to look at. It helps to know kind of what to look for as far as your breeding program and improving your animals in this manner. So, the smarter parts of the animal is good. You guys did really well. Thank you very much. Still no questions? All right. Would you guys please give them a round of applause too? So their first time I told them, a little bit less about how they did, and I'd rather teach them so we spend a little bit more time just kind of going through and explaining everything to them instead. But thank you very much for coming out. Okay, you guys did great. So keep it up. All right. She works really well. So go. I'm done. You read them just like that. Must be three. So, I mean, whatever they do. No, yeah.
So first place for our Dairy Goat Showman from ages 12 to 14 is Paige Bowers from Just Kiddin'.
Just keep practicing. Eventually,
Our first place winner for Dairy Goat Showman, age 9 to 11, is Marie Cottrell from Just Kiddin'. And our first place Dairy Goat Showman for beginners is from Alexa Bowers from Just Kiddin'.
tough class of junior kids. Handlers are doing great. Can't say as much about the animals. They're throwing a fit today, and so I mean it's a little bit harder to really look at them and critique them. But I think that I'm starting the class with this predominantly white doe for just that length of body, levelness over the top, and kind of that the advantage that she's showing is kind of that structural strength throughout. She's taking the class today. I really like the second place doe, this kind of Oberhausen type kid. I'd like to see her a little bit more level from hips to pins, but she's got a wonderful top line here, the strength of that, especially in the area of the chine, mixed with adequate depth of body, actually really nice depth of body for a kid this size and this age. And I think for those strengths, stands over the balance of the class behind her. Just kind of spotted doe in third. I'd like to see her a little bit stronger in the area of the chine, especially when she's moving, but you know, add her with the stress level that she's feeling here today and not really wanting to be fluid in her movement. It could just be, you know, her tensing up. But when she moves about the ring, just a little bit softer in that area of the chine, and it's moving her down a little bit today. This fourth place kid, just not quite the length of body that we're seeing in the animals ahead of her. Still structurally strong, just not quite as much goat here. And if we had that length, I think she could move up quite easily. But as they stand today, a very nice class of kids. Thank you very much for bringing them out. Just keep working on them. They'll get easier. So, thank you.
For the dairy and Gora goats, in fourth place we have Paige Bowers from Just Kitten. In third place we have Elizabeth Swinehart from Pygmies Plus. In second place we have Alexa Bowers from Just Kitten. And in first place, we have Elizabeth Swinehart from Pygmies Plus.
class of intermediate kids here. I think a strong, easy top for me in the sauna dough. Just I love the length of bone in this dough, the levelness throughout, the airiness throughout, added with great depth of body for an intermediate kid, and just a really striking dough, and for me quite easily takes the class. Then we get down to a much closer placing here between 2 and 3, and a very similar pair here. I think we have a slight advantage in the width of the scutcheon in our second place doe over our third, but two structurally very sound animals, just not quite as quite the same femininity that we're seeing in our first place doe, but two very nice animals here. Thank you.
In third place for our intermediate kid, dairy, and Borigo, we have Maria Cottrell. In second place, we have Maria Cottrell from Jessica. And in first place, we have Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Training.
We have a single entry here and another very pretty sauna doe. She's not really wanting to show herself off today, but she's the only one, so she's going to take a blue ribbon regardless. But a very striking doe, lots of general appearance here, lots of structural strength throughout, and really a very nice doe from side profile here, and we can look at her all day. So we're going to give her a blue ribbon and get her on out of here.
In first place for the senior kid dairy and Boricos, we have Hannah Som from Blue Ribbon Showman. Now in the ring is the junior yearling for dairy and Boricos.
Another single entry here in the Stray Yearling class. I'm not going to go on about this girl. She's just as pretty as the last one that came in. And we're going to give her a blue ribbon because she's deserved it. But I'm sure we're going to see her here stay in the line. So thank you very much for bringing her up.
In first place for junior yearling dairy and Boricos, we have Hannah Som from Blue Ribbon Showman. And coming in the ring is the senior yearlings from dairy and Boricos.
So yeah, I just feel better when we see them walk a little bit, right? I go when they're walking versus when they're tensed up and trying to jump up in the air are two different things. And this doe's got an excellent top line. She's very strong on those feet and legs. Very nice animal. She's the only one, so kind of regardless, she's getting a blue ribbon. But we thank her for her cooperation, and we'll give her a blue ribbon.
In first place for the senior yearling dairy and Gora goats, we have Elizabeth Swinehart from Pygmies Plus. And coming in the ring is milkers from age 2 to 3 years, dairy and Gora goats. Sorry. In the ring now is the winners from the kids and yearling.
If after the show today, if everybody could just hang around a couple of minutes, we're going to go ahead and present the Premier Exhibitor Awards too. Okay, thank you.
This is a really nice lineup of juniors, and really not to take away from any of the animals here, but I kind of find that our toughest competition, I think, lies in the 3 does in the middle of the line. Our 2 does on both ends, just not quite the same length of body, the same stretch, same kind of bone pattern that we're seeing in these 3 does in the middle of the line. And we've got some trade-offs here, but really 3 very eye-appealing does. I really like this yearling type doe who's just a monster. Really love the length and stretch on her. But I think there's somebody that is very similar in that same type, has that same general appearance, really kind of eye-catching quality, the same depth of body, but I think she's a little bit tighter in the toes, especially on the front, and the doe square in the middle should be our senior kid, is going to be my junior champion this morning. She was a single entry, so we don't really have a second place animal to bring in consideration for the reserve. So I'm going to jump up to the yearling doe, that I assume junior yearling Sonnen doe here for our reserve. Congratulations.
The results for the overall kids and yearlings, dairy and Gora goats. In reserve, we have Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman. And grand champion is Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman. And now in the ring is milkers from 2 to 3 years old, dairy and Gora goats.
Of single entry here in a 2-year-old class. A very attractive doe here from a side profile. Lots of strengths, lots to admire about this animal. She's very clean, very well put together, and we really like the mammary system that she's showing us here too. So she can definitely take on some competition, but she doesn't have today. Easily get blue ribbon. Congratulations.
In first place for milkers from 2 to 3 years, dairy and Gora goats is Ellie Bullock from 4 Creation 4-Hers. And in the ring now is milkers from 3 to 5 years, dairy and Gora goats.
Two does here in a 3-year-old milking class. Pardon me. I think relative size and scale, we definitely have an advantage in the mammary system as far as capacity with our first place doe, but we also have the advantage in strength of top line, a little bit smoother in the shoulder assembly and blending back into the chine and strength of that chine in our first place doe over our second. I really like how the mammary system is put together on our second place doe. She can have a bit more capacity, working a little bit harder, but a structurally very pleasing mammary system. And then we could clean her up in that top line a little bit to compare with our Sonnet doe here in first place, but still a very nice, well put together doe here in second.
In second place for milkers 3 to 5 years, dairy and Gora goats, we have Elizabeth Swinehart from Pygmies Plus. And in first place, we have Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman. And coming in the ring now is milkers Russian does, dairy and Gora goats.
dry doe class here that I'm gonna leave as they came into the ring. A few trade-offs in my mind. I do appreciate age, and we have a 7-year-old here in the middle of the line who, for a 7-year-old, has held up very well. But she's not as much goat. We don't have the length and stretch that we have in our first place doe. I mean, an incredible front end on this Sana doe at the front of the line. I really love the uphill stance she has. Yes, I'd love to clean her up in the area of the loin. But a very striking doe, and even though our second place doe is 7, I think for the structural strength and the stretch that we have here, our Sana doe is quite easily first. I really appreciate the structural strength that we're still seeing in the 7-year-old doe here with our Toggenburg, and it's for those strengths and levelness throughout, and those feet and legs still being 7 years old, that those strengths will take her over our Nubian doe standing here at third at the end of the line. A very nice Nubian doe. We just don't have the same length and stretch and levelness throughout, I think, to compare with the two does. Two very pretty does that are standing in front of her in a very tough class here today. But a very nice class of dry does. Thank you very much.
In third place for our Milker Freshen Doe, Dairy Angora Goats, we have Ellie Bullock from For Creation 4-Hers. In second place, we have Maria Cottrell from Just Kiddin'. And in first place, we have Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman. And in the ring now, we have our first place from all the milkers.
So this is our lineup for our senior champion. We've got the dry doe here at the headline, and though I find a lot of eye-appealing things about this doe, she's also dry and not quite working as hard as some of the does behind her, and not really to take away from her, but I think for this purpose, for this class, not really in contention here today. And so I come down to the two does at the tail end of the line. A 2-year-old Nigerian doe who I really respect the side profile view, and then a Sana doe, a 3-year-old, who again, very striking in the side profile, and I think has an advantage in the mammary system. We have a greater extension of the fore udder, also a greater extension of the rear udder attachments here on our older doe, our 3-year-old Sana doe, combined with all the strength that she's showing us in that front end assembly and the length and levelness throughout. No real takeaways there, and I think for the advantage that she's shown us in the mammary system, our 3-year-old doe in the middle of the line will be our senior champion. Yeah, you guys can stay there for just a second. We're going to bring in the second place doe that stood behind our champion. And this was a much farther placing as far as the differences between the two. I don't think we have that same mammary system advantage now. I don't think we have the same cleanliness as far as our levelness of the top line that we're seeing in our second, or our 2-year-old here, the animal at the end of the line. And for that strengthened top line, for the cleanliness throughout, and for a little bit well-attached memory system here, I'm going back to the end of the line, our 2-year-old doe here at the tail to be our reserve champion. Congratulations.
Reserve champion for the Milkers is Ellie Bullock. And grand champion is Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman. And coming in the ring now is the Milker champions and the Dry champions.
Now our lineup for our overall champion, we have our grand and reserve senior does here at the front, and then have added our junior champion. And though I really like this junior champion, we'd like to see her fresh to really be in contention here as they stand today. So for the advantage of the memory system that she's shown us over the dry, our senior champion will be our overall champion, and our reserve will be our overall reserve champion. Thank you very much. You had a very gorgeous lineup here for me to see today, and you did an excellent job. Thank you.
Your overall reserve champion is Ellie Bullock from For Creation 4-Hers. And your overall grand champion is Hannah Song from Blue Ribbon Showman.
We want to thank our judge today, Joel Smith, for driving up from Hillsboro to work with our youth today. We're going to do the premier exhibitor. We have figured that out, so the youth want to come out. We're waiting on one last award to come down. So just stay around for a few minutes, okay?
Okay, while we're waiting here, I just wanted to announce some of our sponsors for the show today. And these are our businesses and private citizens that have sponsored rosettes and trophies. So we have Bernadette Gorby from HER Realtors, VFW Post 3761, Maynard Borgos, an anonymous donor, Steve and Diana Pickett, Teddy and Aaron Kahn.
Buckeye Toyota, the hometown dealer who's here to help. Family owned for over 40 years and proudly helping with all of your automotive needs. We are honored to partner with countless charities, churches, schools, and organizations like the Lancaster Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce.
In 2018, the Chamber was proud to honor Buckeye Toyota with a Small Business of the Year based on community involvement. Helping our local community is very much appreciated by all of us here at the Chamber.
Thank you for calling Buckeye Toyota. How may I help you?
Being a first-time parent is very nerve-wracking going into the hospital. You don't really know what to expect. The nurses, the staff, the doctors, everyone at Fairfield Medical Center was very attentive. They just put my mind at ease. They answered any questions we asked. They supported us through the whole delivery, the post-delivery, our stay in the hospital. We felt like we were part of their family. I wouldn't have put myself or my daughter in anybody else's hands. Experience Fairfield Medical Center.
Why join Ohio Farm Bureau? Farm Bureau is there when you can't be. As farmers, we need to fight increasing overregulation. But how are you supposed to be everywhere at once? You need to be managing your farm and at the county commissioners meeting, discussing the latest comprehensive plan update. And then there's the latest water quality bill before the state legislature, and flying to Washington, D.C. to meet your members of Congress, and at the courthouse tracking cases that will affect you on the farm, and communicating before the news media. This is where Farm Bureau comes in. Your county, state, and American farm bureaus all work together to represent you. Farm Bureau is there when you can't be. Ohio Farm Bureau membership makes it possible. Visit ofbf.org to join today.
Interface Video, in cooperation with the Fairfield County Fair Board, presents the 2020 Fairfield County Fair. Brought to you in part by the Buckeye Automotive Family, Cryle Communications, the Ohio Farm Bureau, Granville Milling, the Carriage Company, Fairfield Medical Center, the Frank E. Smith Funeral Home, Fairfield Federal, Dagger Law, and the Connor Insurance Agency.
And our fifth place premier exhibitor, Ellie Bullock. Our fourth place premier exhibitor, Elizabeth Swinehart. Our third place premier exhibitor is Maria Cottrell. Our second place premier exhibitor is Alexa Bowers. And our first place premier exhibitor is Hannah Song. Congratulations, everybody. That's our show.